This is News with the Disney Dude. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel for more content, and hit that thumbs up if you like the video. So, as you can tell, I am not in my home. I'm not in my regular space. I'm actually on my vacation. I am staying at the Art of Animation Resort here at Walt Disney World. So, that's like I said, on my last show, that's what I was going to be on vacation. So, but I did tell you that I would still be doing my news show. It's going to be a little different on this episode because I usually do scripts and everything. I obviously, with me being on vacation, I don't have I don't have any. I couldn't type anything out, so and read it off to you. So it's going to be a little bit different of a news show. I'm going to be talking about two big news stories, though, which is probably going to eat up a lot of time. So that's why another reason too. I didn't want to do a full news. A lot of news on this show, but these two news stories are pretty big. So I just wanted to do those because those are the ones that people are going to be talking about the most. Okay, so a little bit different on this show. But here we go. Here now is the news for May 2nd of 2025. Today is my birthday. Yesterday was Disney's Hollywood Studios birthday, May 1st. So happy birthday to both of us, okay? But again, here now is the news for May 2nd of 2025. So, people have been talking about, and myself included, have been talking about that it's going to be a slow summer here in Florida. A lot of people have chimed in on it and said that and said some kind of like kind of rude things, because Disney has come out and said that it's going to be a slow summer. It's going to be a slow summer, and a lot of people have come out and said some pretty mean things. That, no one wants to go to Disney anymore, and it's all about Universal, and everyone's going to go to Epic Universe, and blah, blah, blah. That's not what's going to happen. That is not what's going to happen, okay? There are a number of factors that are into this slow summer, okay? And before I, get in, too deep of this, I want to say, this is not a political stance. This is, not leaning, to the left or to the right. These are facts, okay? These are facts. If you want to make it political, that's your business, but I'm giving you the facts of the situation, okay? So let's start off, so here's the first fact, okay? The first fact is, post-COVID travel has slowed down, okay? People are kind of, over that hill of revenge travel, okay? they've done their travel, they've been to their places. So, it's I think I think that tourism in that in that part, I think people are now, slowing down. They're, starting to, you know, save more money again. And, it's, they're cautious about their spending and everything. The second thing is, because of what's going on with the U.S. economy at the present time, because of the tariffs and because of what's going on. A lot of people have decided, a lot of international people from other countries have decided, what, Florida is not really a place we want to visit right now. It's not a place we want to visit right now because we don't feel we don't feel safe to visit Florida, okay? Because we feel like we are not welcome in Florida. Us tourists, not me, but overseas tourism people are probably thinking, wow, the U.S. really doesn't want us in America. America does not want us, so we are not going to travel, okay? And because of the tariffs and because of, the price of everything just skyrocketing, everything is getting so outrageously expensive, people are going to cut back. People are going to cut back on their spending. There's no doubt about it. There is no doubt about it, okay? It's hard enough for people to, afford groceries, okay? Coming here on vacation is really not it's not necessary. It is not necessary, okay? It was different when, we had a stronger economy and things were, I hate, I hate to use the word better, but it was different when I will just say it was different when we were in a stronger economy, okay? And people had, extra money to burn and spend and everything. And now everything is getting so outrageously expensive that people they cannot afford to come to, or they can't, they just, in their budgets, they don't have enough money to spend to come to Walt Disney World or Universal or SeaWorld, okay? They just don't have that kind of money. And it's not a political stance. It's not a, I'm sure someone in the comments is going to say, well, this, because it's blah, blah. No, I'm telling you hard facts, okay? And the facts are that, with everything going on with the tariffs and the political atmosphere right now, people are going to slow down. People are going to slow down, and will the tourism come back? Sure, it'll come back. It'll come back. It's going to take a couple years, but it's going to come back. It is definitely going to come back. But I truly think that next year, it's really going to be slow. It is going to be slow here. For us locals that live here, I think that Walt Disney World and Universal and SeaWorld, they are going to be leaning on us. They are really going to be leaning on us for next year because of the massive dip in tourism, okay? So they're really going to, at least I would hope, that they, would appeal to us because, we're locals. So, we're the ones that are visiting the most, okay? So, we may not spend as much money as, these tourists, but, we visit a lot more. We visit a lot more than the tourists that come, okay? Now, obviously, that's, Walt Disney World was, that's why we're the tourism capital, of the United States, is because Walt Disney World and Universal and SeaWorld and Busch Gardens and, all these other theme parks. But there is no question. There is no question that this is going to be a very slow summer. A very slow summer. And that's why Disney is, opening up these, new rides and shows and such, because they want people to visit their theme parks. But I just think that it's just gonna, not be in anybody's budget this year. And another thing is, people are now starting to realize that Florida is, in the summertime, is extremely hot. Is extremely hot and muggy and sticky and rainy and, and hurricanes and everything. So people are now starting to figure that out. People are now starting to figure out, wow, it's Walt Disney World or at least Orlando in the summer is not a great place to be. It is not a great place to be. It is not enjoyable. It is not enjoyable. It is very hot here in the summertime. June is usually okay. It's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. June is okay. May is, give or take. June is, again, give or take. But come July and August, it's very bad. It is very bad. It is extremely hot. It is extremely hot. And August is right in the middle of hurricane season. That's when we get, the big hurricanes is August, usually in August. Sometimes we get, one or two in September and October, but August is the worst month for hurricane season. Okay? So people are now starting to figure that out. People are now starting to figure out that, wow, Florida is extremely unbearable in the summertime. Let's not go in the summertime, okay? And, I go because I have to, check up on things, okay? So it's not really enjoyable for me either in the summertime, okay? That's why I limit things to do outside. I don't do, Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. I don't do Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I don't do any outdoor rides. I don't do those. I don't do those because, number one, it's really hot. Number two, it rains a lot in the summertime and they shut the rides down anyway. So it's just not something, the outside stuff I don't do. I don't do because you just can't. You just can't. You can't do the outside stuff in the summertime because it's just too bad. It's just really hot, too unbearable. And I think people are now starting to figure that out. They're starting to figure out that, hey, Florida is not the place you want to be in the summertime. Okay, so that's another factor of it. Okay, it's not just the political stance. It's the reason. The other reason is Florida is extremely hot here. It is extremely hot. Basically from May until like mid-October. Okay, it is extremely hot, and nobody wants to be out in this heat. Okay, So I think that's why, there's going to be a dip in tourism, and no amount of a new theme park in Epic Universe or nothing that Disney opens in the summer, none of that is going to help. None of that is going to help. It's going to be a very slow summer here. So, it's if you want to make it political, that's your business. That's your business, okay? But I'm giving you the facts of people don't want to come here in the summer. People don't want to come here in the summer anymore. And I really don't blame them. I really don't blame them, okay? And I say that as a local, okay? I say that as a local. I have been here. We moved here in 2015. Okay, we've been now we've come to Disney. We've come to Walt Disney World. Many times. It's an unlisted number. Okay, but it's we came in the summer too. Okay, but it was. But it's with everything that's changing in the climate of of not the political climate, but just the weather climate, and that, I think people are just they're not interested. They are not interested in coming to the theme parks in the summertime here in Florida. They just aren't. Okay? And no amount of new shows or rides or theme parks is going to change that. Okay? So, those are the facts. That's what I'm stating. Again, if you want to make it political, that's your business. Okay? But I'm stating hard facts to you. Okay? So, we are in for a rough summer. We are in for a very rough summer. So everyone needs, to brace themselves here in Florida for the tourism industry, because it's going to be really bad. It's going to be a really slow, bad summer. Okay? All right, now I want to talk about my last story. So the Walt Disney animatronic will soon be opening on in Disneyland on July 17th on their anniversary. So I obviously I really wanted to go, and I really wanted to go and experience this new show and this audio animatronic. I don't think it's going to be in, like everybody else. It's just not going to be in the budget for me. It's just not. I mean, maybe someday, I don't know, but it's just not in the budget for me. But, Walt Disney Imagineering invited media people out to California to see the new Walt Disney animatronic. I'm obviously not part of the media, so I, don't get invited to those things, so I don't get previews or anything. But they said that I just watched. As of this recording, I just watched the news with Tom Corliss over at WDW News today, and he said that it was one of the best animatronics that he has ever seen. And if he says that, then it's going to be powerful. It's going to be a powerful animatronic. So they said that they chose Walt in the year of 1963. That era, so many things that he was working on at that time. He was working on not only Mary Poppins, he was working on the New York World's Fair. Plans for Walt Disney World were being developed. So there was a lot of stuff happening in his life at that particular time that they chose to tell his story. So I am really excited. I am really excited for this. He said that Tom said this. Tom Corliss said that, it really looks a lot like Walt. It looks a lot like Walt. And he said he got emotional. And if he says that, then this animatronic is going to be pretty damn good. It is going to be pretty damn good. If Tom said he got emotional about it, then you can guarantee it's going to be good. It is going to be good. Okay? My hope is that once this new show opens and it's well received, which I'm sure it will be, because it's the Disneyland crowd, it's his park. What I would really hope for is that they would take molds of Walt and copy and take a copy of the show, bring it over here to Florida, and put it in Walt Disney's One Man's Dream. That's what I would really hope, because now we have a generation of kids that have no idea who Walt Disney is. They have no clue. They have no idea. Okay? It's different from you or I, that, obviously I'm the generation that, didn't get to meet Walt Disney, so but there's still some people around that have worked with him, so it's, we're right on that cusp of, my generation, of the older generation, and then it's my generation, and now it's, the people after my generation. So the kids after my generation have no idea who Walt Disney is. They have no idea. Okay? So so I think this show is really going to speak volumes. What I would really hope is that they would, build another version of this show and ship it over here to Florida so we can have it right here in Walt Disney's One Man's Dream at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Because it would teach a lot of people, about Walt Disney and his life and career. Okay? Because especially here at Walt Disney World, where, there's so many tourists and, well, right now anyway, there's so many tourists and people that, probably don't even know who Walt Disney is. I think having the show, another version of the show here would be great. Will it happen? If I had to bet money on it, I would say it's not going to happen, because there's no way Walt Disney World would spend the money to bring the show here. I would love for it to come here, don't get me wrong, and if they decide to do that, then I will definitely, I will eat my shoe. I will eat my shoe if they bring, if they copy the show and bring it here. Okay? But I don't see it. I I don't see them ever bringing that over to here. Okay, it's I don't see it ever happening, and I really hate to be that guy. Really hate to be that guy of, it's never going to happen, and blah blah blah. But look, we have so many tourists. Well, again, right now, we have so many tourists here that they either I don't know if they're not interested or if or what, but they're not gonna. I don't think they're not. I really don't think they're gonna care. They're just not gonna care about us having a Walt Disney audio animatronic in one of these parks. Okay, and it really hurts my heart to say that. It really hurts my heart to say that, but I just don't think it's going to happen. People here just don't. They don't get it. They won't. I mean, they won't understand it. They're not going to get it. And Walt Disney World is. It's Walt Disney World is more the parks are more geared toward relevant IPs, because this Walt Disney World crowd is a totally different crowd than Disneyland is, or Tokyo Disneyland is, or Disneyland Paris, or Shanghai Disneyland. It's totally different. It is totally different than any of these other places, because Walt Disney World is full of vacationers that are once-in-a-lifetime people. They only come once in a lifetime, maybe twice, but usually only once. They're never going to come back, so they're not going to care. They are not going to care, okay? And I'm sure someone in the comments is going to fight me on that. But, I mean, that's the way that I look at things. And that really hurts my heart to say. It really hurts my heart to say. So I don't enjoy saying things like this, okay? I really, really don't. People look at me and they say that I'm too pessimistic or whatever. But that's just what it is. That's just what it is, okay? Walt Disney World was never a park that is full of locals. It's just not, okay? It's full of vacationers that are once-in-a-lifetime people that only come once or twice, and they're never going to come back. So you have to build things here. You have to build things that people understand. Otherwise, you're not going to reach them, okay? Which is why they're getting rid of the riverboat. It's why they're getting rid of Riverboat. What am I missing? Tom Sawyer Island. They're getting rid of. That's why they're adding. That's why they're putting the Cars attractions in that space. They're putting Disney Villains in behind Big Thunder Mountain. That's why they put Indiana Jones in where Dinosaur is. That's why there's a new Disney villain show. That's why there's, and I really hate to say this, but that's really why they're getting rid of Muppet Vision. That's why they're getting rid of Muppet Vision, is because now there's a generation of kids that don't know the Muppets. So, they're going to get rid of the Muppets and put Monsters, Inc. in, because Monsters, Inc. is a relevant IP. Even though I really don't want Muppet Vision to leave, but I see why they would do that. I see why they would get rid of Muppet Vision 3D and put in a more relevant IP, okay? But again, it really hurts my heart. Really hurts my heart to say, that we have to lose Muppet Vision 3D for Monsters, Inc. But again, you have to build things that people understand. You just have to. Which is, again, I'm going to use another example, which is why they had to take out the Cars stunt show and the tram tour. They had to get rid of those out of Disney's Hollywood Studios and put Toy Story Land where the tram tour was, and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge where the Lights, Motors, Action Stunt Show was. Okay? You have to put things in the parks that people understand. Okay? People looked at the tram and the car stunt show, the Lights, Motors, Action Stunt Show, and was like, what is that? I don't know what that is. Okay? Why is that there? Okay? Which is why, Hollywood, which is why MGM Studios, went through that kind of, depending on your point of view, the rebirth, because they had to build things that people understood, okay? Because they wanted people to, visit Hollywood Studios, because Hollywood Studios was kind of declining, with attendance. So they had to do something. They had to put something in the park so that people would go. And they saw Star Wars and they're like, how about that? Can we do that? And that's why they put Toy Story Land in there as well, because they wanted people to visit the parks. Okay? Do I agree that they should get rid of Muppet Vision 3D? No, absolutely not. They should not have gotten rid of Muppet Vision 3D. There's a whole, I would assume, there's a whole section of the park in the back that's not being used. It's not being used. It's probably just old of what MGM Studios used to be. Okay, so there's probably nothing back there except old remnants of MGM Studios, and of course, cast areas and such. But you could have just expanded. You could have just gotten rid of that gate, right by Muppet Vision, and expanded out that way. That's what you could have, or what you could have done is you could have gotten rid of Launch Bay. You could have gotten rid of Star Wars Launch Bay, and you could have put that in there. But you didn't do that. They didn't do that. That's not what they did. They were like, well, let's get rid of Muppet Vision. Let's get rid of Muppet Vision 3D because nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares about that outdated attraction. And that's a shame. That is really a shame. Okay? Because that's like saying, let's get rid of It's a Small World. Or I don't know if they get rid of Pirates after the Johnny Depp movies, or if they got rid of, I don't know, Haunted Mansion. If they got rid of It's a Small World or Haunted Mansion, or what's another ride there that's been there the longest? I don't know. But if they got rid of It's a Small World and Haunted Mansion to put something more relevant in, we would be having a fit. That would never happen. At least not in my lifetime. Okay? Obviously, when I leave this earth, I don't. It's nothing I can, do anymore. But in my lifetime, we should never get rid of those attractions. And I really thought that Muppet Vision was on that spectrum. Okay? It's something that they should never ever have gotten rid of. But they did. Okay? And shame on them for doing that. All right? But again, you have to build things that people understand. Because the Walt Disney World crowd is a totally different crowd than Disneyland or any of these other places, okay? So, I'm sorry to go off on that rant, but that's just the way it is, okay? So, But I thank you guys very much for watching this video. I know this was a different kind of video, but these were the two biggest news stories that I wanted to cover. So I knew that these two would be the most important, and I would be spending a lot of time talking about them. So that's why I only chose these two to talk about. When I come back for my next show, when I come back from vacation, obviously I can, do, the regular, more of the regular news, and then I'll be having my new another episode of my new show, more Disney. So that'll be coming out very soon as well. So look for that. So I'm gonna just wrap this up. So if you like this video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to my channel for more content. I thank you guys very much for watching this video. You guys have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening. And you guys keep each other safe and healthy. And remember that tomorrow is just a dream away.